as we know, so it's just not study in a university. In Göttingen, it's most about study and research. It's one of the most prominent features of Göttingen is that we have a very research-oriented training. So if you go to do a master's course, it's just not your master's coursework that is very important. You have a very integrated, serious training programs. And your master's thesis is just not a last semester copy-paste from the Wikipedia that you submit. It's a more aggressive and very comprehensive thesis that you work for over a year. Of course, when it comes to the education field, we have the joint degrees and the double degree programs. So because of the European the flexibility, if you do a course in Göttingen, if you do a degree in Göttingen, there are high chances that this is a joint degree program. That is, you get 1 year from Germany, and Göttingen has a lot of partnerships. Now, India is a very priority country to Göttingen's international strategy. We have a lot of partnerships with many universities in India. We will come to that in the next slide. But if you're a student in any one of these Indian universities, you have very high chances for going on exchange with University of Göttingen. Of course, the students are both incoming, outgoing exchange, and of course, we have a lot of research projects. So if you're already doing your PhD in India, and a professor is willing to collaborate with universities with University of Göttingen, there's also a very high chance that there is a very mutual collaboration. As crowded as this slide looks, as many collaborations Göttingen has with India. So you notice that we have about 12 MOU partners. So these are full-time academic partners where students and faculty can go and exchange with Göttingen for at least 1 semester or 2 semesters. And it's a fully funded program by, of course, the German Academic Exchange and other funding agencies. So right from social sciences to humanities to sciences, we have collaborations all across the country. So if you're a student of Delhi University or JNU, you have good collaborations to do with Göttingen. In Hyderabad, I think CCMB is a partner of Göttingen. So if you're a student of that, you have very high chances to go and exchange. A little about the city itself. Göttingen is a very, very small city. It's like Pune. It's like the city of students. Every other person there is a student. It was first documented in about 980, and it has just 130,000 inhabitants and about 26,000 students. So that's how big the town is and how many students are there. Of course, it's a very small city, and I will come to a very unique tradition in Göttingen in just some time. A few facts and figures. It's one of the oldest universities in Germany. Of course, the oldest is Heidelberg, which was founded in 1359, I think. Göttingen is about 18th century. There are about 13 faculties in sciences and humanities, and we have 180 institutes. 3,000 PhD students right now in Germany, and 11% of them are international students. Are there any science students here at the moment? No, okay, there are some. Not all are sleeping, okay. So that's the list of faculties that we have. Blue are the ones in sciences, and then the ones in red are the humanities. Again, there is a very Göttingen is famous for its interdisciplinary work. So if you're a student of physics, you can also do a course in ethnology and theology. It's extremely interesting. Another very important feature of Göttingen is you're not just restricted to the University of Göttingen. We have something called the Göttingen Research Council, and this is where the engineers can wake up a little bit for a few minutes. So at the University of Göttingen has the specialty that there are the Max Planck Institutes. I don't know how many of you have heard of the Max Planck Society. So we have 5 Max Planck Institutes in Germany, in Göttingen itself. So if you're a student of Göttingen, you have all the opportunities and the cooperation to have a collaboration with the Max Planck societies. So all of this, so if you're a student of University of Göttingen, all these Max Planck Institutes are open to you for research collaboration. We also have the German Primate Center and also the German Aerospace Center, which is a very famous lab called the DLR labs. So as a student, as a research associate, your opportunity to collaborate with these research institutions is high. And in this research councils is where we need engineers. So so scientists can give the idea, but how to execute it is, the chemical, other mechanical engineers that come in. So there are opportunities here for the engineers around who maybe have finished their master's degree in the Göttingen Research Council, where engineers and scientists come together. The scientists maybe, so when you have some theories, they are implemented only at the research center. Okay, I will look at this. So yes, the natural sciences, we have a lot of courses. So not just, in India, we generally have just the faculty of physics, the faculty of biology, right? In Göttingen, we have a lot of centers. These are interdisciplinary centers. So maybe chemistry guys and biology guys come together and have a center for biosciences or, chemical sciences. So the centers is where a lot of interdisciplinary research happens. Again, this is the courses for humanities, where you have law, economics, and social studies, the various schools and the centers where a lot of interdisciplinary research happens all the time. If you have any questions, you can stop me at any moment. That is okay. Of course, the Center in Humanities and Theology. So this is again the current research center. Again, engineers can wake up here for a minute. So again, as I said, these are the research centers. So these are the focus. So nanospectroscopy and X-ray imaging. So the science is given to you by physics guys like me, but you know how to make these big machines, how to make better laser technologies is all where we need the engineers. So we have in high order structures, geobiology, and all of this is mostly humanities. We have the Linchester colleagues. If there are any faculty members in the audience, this is a good opportunity for students, for faculty members who've done their PhD already and want to go to Germany for about 6 months to work on your research, to write a book. You can be funded by the Linchester colleague, and this is only for mostly advanced faculty and people who've done their postdocs to go and research in Germany. So you have absolute freedom, and you can always take courses there, teach courses. And also there's a lot of scope for interdisciplinary workshops. A lot of scope for interdisciplinary workshops there. The most important feature about like the icing on the cake is Göttingen has recommendations, has an alumni of 44 Nobel laureates. Can you recognize some of them? Anybody? Anybody? Yeah, of course. Yeah, Madame Curie. This guy there? Long hair. Gauss? Sorry? Maxwell? No. No. Okay, well, so we have basically a lot of them. So Heisenberg, quantum mechanics came from Werner Heisenberg. We have Gauss right here. Werner Heisenberg, Clark, Debye. We've learned in physics the Debye formula. So 44 scientists have been associated with Göttingen at some point in their life. So it's, of course, the maximum. After Göttingen, Stockholm has the maximum Nobel laureate alumni. I don't know if Shilpa has talked about this in the morning. Did you? Okay, so a brief review. After the diploma in Göttingen, we have, in Germany, the system is again a 3+2 bachelor-master course. So 3 years of bachelor's, 2 years of master's, and a 3-year PhD again. Like in India, it's picking up the trend of an IPhD or integrated PhD. But after your bachelor's, you do a 4-year master come PhD program. So this is the integrated PhD, where after your first year of master's, instead of doing a master thesis, you jump to a PhD program. And in 4 years, you finish your master's and a PhD. We have something called graduate schools, which is a very internationally sort of picking up trend. Graduate schools are where, like the Gauss Graduate School in Sciences. So graduate schools are structured programs, and the funding is already pre-planned. Like the DFG, that's the German Research Foundation, funds these graduate schools. So you, as a student, if you apply to a graduate school, you do not have to source your own scholarships. So suppose you do a PhD, you apply for a PhD to a professor. More often than not, you have to apply to the DAAD again for scholarship, right? But when you apply to graduate schools, they are pre-funded programs. So the professor already would have had positions of PhD, and you apply to the professor, you apply to the program, and then you automatically get the scholarship. You don't have to search for scholarships again. So this is the advantage of these graduate schools. And of course, they're highly structured programs, extremely intensive, of course, very rigorous, and has a lot of, again, a lot of opportunity for interdisciplinary research. This is one of the schools that I've picked up, the most successful schools in Göttingen. This is also called the School of Molecular Biology and Neurosciences, if there is in the audience. So we've noticed that over the last 10 years, the applications, the number of students that have gone from India to like 4 times. There's a simple screen. Graduate schools, as I said, are more rigorous than a normal PhD applications. You may have to, then there's a written exam which is then screened, and then depending on the number of applications, you have a Skype interview, or sometimes they even call you to Göttingen and you have an interview round there. And then, of course, the selection goes through. The list of international master programs, so this is a very generic point that if you were applying for any course in Germany, please look out for the international master's program. Only then it would say that it is an English program. More often than not, if they say it's master's program, there are high chances that they're in German, right? So all international programs are expected to be in English. So that's the list of international master programs. Of course, you notice that there are some joint degree programs, so the double degree programs. That is, you get a degree from Göttingen and the other one from Spain or Denmark or Netherlands, any one of the European countries. Wherever it says MS PhD, this is the integrated PhD that I was talking about, a 4-year master PhD in a short. Again, we have 21 international PhD programs. So most PhD programs, again, German language is not a prerequisite, but definitely an additional advantage. So I hope I'm not going against what Shilpa said in the morning. German is not a prerequisite, but definitely an additional advantage. And of course, the international PhD doctoral programs, the trick here is in these, when you say international PhD programs, you can submit your thesis in English. You have the choice too. Otherwise, over the course of your PhD, you may have to learn German and submit your thesis in German. That's the catch of international doctoral programs and just the PhD programs. So is the case with Anglophone. Anglophone means English programs. Just I think you'll get to know about these over the sessions through the day. But in Germany, in all the state-run universities, there is no fee in Germany, right? We have an administration fee of about 200 rupees, which takes care of your library, your free train in the barns over the entire state of Saxony. So that's the administration fee, and obviously your canteen rates are all slashed. The tuition fee, with about 500 euros, is likely to be waived soon. And for exchange students, of course, you only have to pay the administration fee. And so if you're going on exchange for about a semester, your entire fees is waived, and you're given an additional scholarship of about 800 euros from the German Academic Exchange. The living costs are primarily about 600, 700 euros in bigger cities like Munich and Berlin, but in Göttingen, which is a small city, you can really do well with about 500 euros. And of course, it's very strange that, I don't know if there are many odd jobs like you do in the US and maybe Australia. In Germany, it's a very, the culture so is that you have a lot of opportunities in the lab itself. So you can work as a teacher assistant or a student assistant. You needn't go to the petrol bunks to fill petrol. That's the sort of standard of jobs or part-time jobs that you have. A little about the funding. You will hear this again over the next couple of days if you're coming here again. But the funding opportunities are plenty. But again, as Krishna said, there is no compromise or there's no alternative to academics. So if you have a good academic score, there is no reason for you to get a reject or not get a funding. So the various funding opportunities of the DAAD proposals, we have the DAAD scholarship programs, of course and DAAD funds primarily PhD students, and not many master programs. We have the DAAD, the new passage to India. As I said, if you're a student of any of the partners of University of Göttingen, you have a very high chance of going in an exchange to Göttingen for about a semester. And about this year, we have 25 students who are going to Germany. About 80 German students are coming to India on this DAAD New Passage to India. Of course, we have the Erasmus Mundus Action 2 program. I don't know if people know it. So this is for the benefit of the students who are not in these sort of corporate academic partners. You can apply for the Erasmus Mundus program, and they're very, very high. I think the scholarship is about 1,000 euros or 1,800 euros, so it's extremely handsome scholarship. Just a little bit more statistics. There are about 6,000 Indian students in Germany at the moment. And you see the numbers are sort of progressively increasing over the year. We have, in Göttingen, we have about 130 Indian students. This is about in students, about 2,700 students. And of course, the female to male ratio is almost unequal. You have as many girl students as boys. The biggest funding, of course, is the DAAD New Passage to India. So I was talking about the exchange programs. And of course, there are about 800 German students in India who've come in the last 5 years, and it is progressively increasing. Yep, that's about it. So if you have any questions about University of Göttingen, any opportunities that you need, I primarily take these questions. So you can write to me at india.office@göttingen.de. We have an office in Pune. So I don't know if any of you in Pune, you can definitely come up to my office, and we can let you know opportunities at Göttingen. So yes, the other point is molecular medicine is primarily in German as well. So you need to know some amount of German to apply to the program. Because in a PhD, you have the freedom to start in English because it's your idea, you supervisor, you can discuss in English. But in a master's program, most of these courses are lectures. And if you're only an English student, it may be difficult for you to gel with German lectures given there. But if it's an international program, then yes, you directly apply to the faculty. So all master's program, you do not apply to the university like it happens in India. You apply to the specific master's program. So of course, and if you talk or interact with the professor, you have more clarity. But it's not that if you talk to the professor, it's easier for you to get through a master's program. That's not the case. That's the case in PhDs. I mean, if you have a rapport with the professor, it's easier to get a PhD, but not for the master's. Yeah, so it's not for practicing doctors. It's primarily for students who have done their bachelor's here in, say, in one of the basic sciences. Yeah, we have the medical center, the Göttingen Medical Center. Yes, we have the medical hospital. But again, master's course is not very popular for the international students. It is more for the Germans. So again, if you need to practice in Göttingen, it is a higher task to do. It is a more difficult task to do so because of the language, of course, and the permissions that you need to practice in Göttingen. But of course, research is definitely possible, but not maybe practicing.
PhD is no problem.
PhD is not a problem. Yeah. That's correct. That's correct. So because we have in the University Medical Center, we have a team of neurosciences. So these are people who work on the brain imaging and monitoring. So these primarily start applying in winter. That's September, October. The test falls in February, and the interviews get done by May. So they start the following fall. Set in the applications in January, February is when the written exam is at the Goethe Center or the DAAD centers. And then they finalize the applications, and then they go on to the video conferences. Yeah, it depends. If there are more interviews, if there are more students, then it happens over Skype. But if there are lesser and there's a decision to be taken, then they are called to Göttingen. And the biggest mistake one can do is sending your email to all the faculty members. It is a complete washout. It is an absolute no-no. So in any PhD programs you want to apply, never write to everybody that you can see in the faculties, because then it is most often deleted. So be very specific. Do not write general hi, hello mails to professors. And most often, it's always a very good practice to see what the professor's background is. There's always, his background, his CV, generally put up what the papers, what sort of list of papers he writes on. It's a very good idea to sort of know the professor before you write to him, know what kind of research he does, what groups he is interested in. And that is a very good way to, of course, know yourself as in what you're interested in, and also the professor. And then write to them individually, to not BCC mails. Yeah, no, this is just like a good, just, keep in mind, sort of. Okay.
Can I directly apply it to the university?
For a PhD program?
Yes.
So see, PhD programs are mostly announced in the website. So if you're interested in, say, chemistry, you go to the Faculty of Chemistry, and either there are positions that are announced saying that these and these positions are open for the fall semester. So you apply to them. The other way, the non-structured programs, is you apply to the professor directly, and if he finds your work interesting, he will sort of create a position, as in he will take you in, but ask you to get funding from DAAD. Structured program. Okay. So like I talked about the graduate schools, suppose you apply to a graduate school, you don't have to worry about funding because they are pre-funded programs. And when you apply to that again, you'll have similar procedure we talked about. You have a written exam, and then you have an interview and all of that. And there is no loss that you already start speaking to a professor. It is an additional advantage.